Okay, so last time since we met our heroes, we had pretty much like all the social talking, mostly with Caden. After you had to go away, they basically had their own talk alongside Benjamin Alava with Caden when they threw in their ideas. And surprisingly enough, Caden didn't kill them on the spot.
It's good, I suppose.
Yeah, basically, I assumed that it's up to DM if they're gonna play certain NPCs, unless the book states, but the wiki, I don't have a book, I'm using wiki, so wiki doesn't clearly state if he's like purely Puritan or radical. So I just went with logical option that he lived for a long time, so he's seen some shit and he's open for some motion. Basically, I used something that I've read and I think it's pretty on point. Apart from a few examples from canon, like every Inquisitor starts as a Zealot Puritan, then as the time goes on, he becomes like a radical because he's not suppressed, not repressed. Frustrated. He's frustrated at the lack of results. And then after he gets to a certain point, he gets killed by younger Inquisitor who's Zealot Puritan. Anyways, it's not that I'm basically what I'm trying to say. I'm trying not to I'm trying not to paint Caden as radical because as a DM I prefer radicals, but because that's the way he is. Anyways, basically they talked, and at the very start of this session we had to turn time a little bit back to the main briefing that you had, because as you had to leave, there was a matter involving your character that Caden asked you a question, and that would give him an argument why you're gonna still go on and try to find and use that ancient super weapon. So basically I'm gonna do a small retcon as we fade in back again to a half-lit briefing room with Caden on his main badass chair and the rest of you sitting around. I remember that Moriana was talking that we better stop playing by his tune, and basically advising that because this might be Maraba's plot, you should just sit back and hide these map pieces so that nobody will find this place. So I know I answered, but I'm gonna do a small retcon that basically Caden says something on the lines that we are Inquisition, you are Throw Agents, not mere acolytes, and I expect that greater demon of Singe or not, you will not face away from a challenge, and you will overcome it. If this Marabas thinks he can play us, then let him think so, and Inquisition will prove him wrong. Basically, the argument that he uses us to cut discussion is that we take it on and we beat the bastard and at his own game. Especially saying that you kinda expect something to happen and you are on guard. And then he says, besides that, he doesn't really allow Moriana to come to voice. He silences her with a glare, even though he has a mask. Besides, there is another reason. Primaries, and he locks his steel gaze at you.
Yes.
Tell them about your dreams.
He'll, out of character, I forget exactly the nature of what they are. Some kind of creeping, expanding, but at the same time getting closer sphere of darkness.
Yeah, like tentacle
it's
parts. going
Yes.
through north part of galaxy that will come through Halo Star Sector, and if not stopped, you saw like the bad future where basically it extinguishes worlds, including Holy Terra, and in the good future, yeah, you use that. Apparently there's like blinding flash of light coming from somewhere in Halo Star Sector, and you assume that's the weapon used that pushes back this darkness. Out of character, I'm pretty sure you might guess what that tide of
I found out
darkness
what
is.
it was.
What?
I found out what it was.
Does your character know?
Did I tell you?
Does my character know? Oh no, I doubt he.
Oh, yeah. And yeah, and also there was a like silhouette of, you think, a planet somewhere in that tie that's moving alongside it. Anyways, returning back to the scene, as I'm guessing, like when he asks that question, what's the reaction of others? Do you just like turn your heads around and like look at Ignatius?
I do.
Yep. Especially Xanthus, because he also had dreams. So, like, please share.
And I do. Some kind of. Recently, I've had what turned out to be recurring dreams about some kind of creeping darkness. I ignored them originally because it's not exactly weird for me to have odd dreams, but when they started happening again, I thought I should share them. Unfortunately, I haven't had the time to, considering what's been going on.
Does he go into detail about what happens within them?
Yeah, like out of character, I forget the exact wording of it.
Basically, maybe I will ask this way: are you hiding any detail?
No, I'm not
from the
hiding
dreams?
anything. No, not at this point. Now that I know that it's recurring, it's not something just kind of one-off weird dream. I share everything.
Okay. And then Caden, even without you asking him about that, he quickly explains that Primaris Ignatius is not the only one that has dreams. He doesn't look at Xanthis. He says that older Primaris, because I'm guessing like there are older like Primaris Psychers in different sectors of the galaxy. He explains that other Primaries in like different sectors, there are reports that they have dreams, although their contents vary. I believe that your dream, Primaris Ignatius, is connected to Tyrant Star. The others have their own version. And because it is connected to Tyrant Star, it is absolutely pivotal, and it does not. I will not allow any discussion about it. Wait, what is he trying to say in English? Sorry, I sometimes. Basically says that's the main reason why finding and using that weapon, if it exists and works, is absolutely primary objective.
And what if his dreams are being influenced by Marabas himself?
Well,
How can
apparently
we be so sure? Yes, they have their other psychers have their different variant tales. Each one differs, as was stated.
If they are in different sector. Well, there might be another primaries in this one.
How can we know this to be true? How can we truly believe that this beacon of light is our salvation and not our doom?
Even if we don't, Inquisition exists to confirm such things. If there is a chance that this weapon exists and it works, Imperium of Man needs every edge it can get against our ever-growing list of enemies. Besides, I assumed you had more faith in your teammate, Moriana.
She have been required to remove her helmet or not?
Not from Caden himself, to be honest.
Okay.
He could have just said, yeah, you need to show me your faces, but he knows your faces already, and besides, it's like sort of inside joke for him that he's not gonna be hypocrite and say that, yeah, you need to like helmets off while I have my mask on.
Even the strongest of
Nice.
psychos are still susceptible to the pull. I've seen it time and time again myself. Whereas I do not doubt the Whereas I do not doubt Ignatius's abilities. Even the strongest do eventually fall.
I'm afraid I must take offense to that one.
I meant none. I am simply speaking from personal experience. She utters something along the line. What is the world called? Let me just.
Mara.
Yeah, she mutters something under her breath. You can probably catch the name Mara, though.
Even if chaos influence can be felt if used in such a way. I'm not saying you to not do. Fuck, what he's trying to I know what he would say, but how to put that in English? Basically, there are ways to like examine it to see if
The weapon, huh?
if the influence is there, but there's no need for Ignatius to be like, you almost, even though Caden doesn't do any like wave, like air quotes with his hands, you can almost like feel them when he's saying like tender hands of Interrogator and Medicae and others, especially. Because and then he like throws in report that basically one other primaries who had similar dreams, he was kind of like censored, like not many. He had some enemies, and when the knowledge about his dream like got out, then they like accused him of being like influenced by chaos and falling to corruption. So they did their thing with Interrogator, and basically it shows that they didn't find any. And he like froze in like backhand comment. Oh, of course, this was really useful, but of course the offending party was swiftly punished.
As it should be.
There was one more question that I forgot to ask last week to Caden when we were all together. Can I ask that now before we go back to the other, skip forward back to the other part?
Yeah, sure. If your character would do that.
She would, considering what
happened. Briefing?
Yeah, she would have, considering. Well, you'll understand when she says it.
All right.
Another question, Lord Inquisitor.
Speak.
What do you know of rogue trader Maximilian Vermilion?
That was coming.
Vermilion. I know that he was the one who got recruited by that traitor Sidov back
What?
at least half a year ago when I gave Sidov the mission that you have now. I know that the family that he comes from is... well, they have warrant of trade from High Lords of Terra, obviously given in the name of Emperor. They are not too known, they're like middle. They are not too known, but they have their uses and fame.
I query this because, quite frankly, I distrust him.
As the
It's-
Inquisition motto says, innocence proves nothing.
Be it paranoia, or maybe a gut instinct, I do not know. However, he seems to be... how would you put it? Everyone who has met with this man before us, they were good people. Sidov was... what was the rogue trader? Not rogue trader, the other Inquisitor. It was Sidov, right?
Yeah, Valten Sidov.
Inquisitor Sidov, or ex-Inquisitor Sidov now, was loyal for the start of his campaign. We have the
Or
records.
perhaps he
It was
played
towards...
that he was. Who knows what's lurking in the shadows of one's mind. Anyways, continue.
Yet Vermilion has been the focal point around these people. He has been time and time again exposed to the powers of chaos. Even if it was not him that influenced Sidov in the first place, he should still be checked. It was his rival rogue trader that, well, his rival rogue trader was also fallen for reasons we have not yet discovered. We do believe that Sidov made, or I have the suspicion that Sidov may have made him a demon host against his own will. From the notes we found on insert Ohm's World, I think the planet was called, yeah. From
Yeah,
the documentation found on Ohm's World.
He like nods. I
He-
remember what you said.
We found him on his ship that had claims and proof that there were traitor legions presence. All of his crew gone, yet he was the last survivor. There is no way an unarmed or a scarcely armed rogue trader and 100 or so personal guard wielding lasguns could hold off members of traitor legions and demons alike. Him being alive is,
Suspicious.
I do not want to call a miracle, but yes, very suspicious, as Ignatius put it.
He nods. Is that all?
If I may offer a suggestion, Lord Inquisitor.
His mask tilts and looks at you.
I would suggest using a telepath. They're more subtle than, well, the interrogators. Is a telepath I'm thinking of, right? Yes, a telepath. They can read the man's mind without him even knowing.
You say
Just a
that,
thought.
but what if is already a vessel of the changer of ways? They will know if he is he will feel if he is being
Not
toyed
necessarily.
with, no?
It depends. But if he is a vessel of the changer of ways, then any telepath worth his title will be able to sense that demon within when they go to look into the mind.
Quite frankly, I would rather requisition our own ship to leave this planet and have him axed out of the investigation completely.
Yes, but then
He
we'd
knows
have,
too much already.
and therein is the problem. Now we'd have a rogue trader that we don't know where he is, with all the information that we have.
Make him swear an oath of silence.
And if he's possessed, as you think he might be, or
He is
if
still
he's a
in
traitor,
orbit currently above the planet. There are inquisitorial forces within.
No,
What's the
he's
name of
not.
the palace?
You are forgetting that he is on the ground level with you,
Oh,
with his ship.
yeah,
he's
you
with
dock
us.
on the planet.
He is docked on the planet currently.
What's your point? Are you suggesting we ground a rogue trader indefinitely without even offering a reason why?
Suspicion of heresy is more than enough reason.
Not for peer of Imperium, as you are forgetting, guardswoman.
Yes, a peer that has seen two other peers fall into chaos within his presence, yet somehow he remains unscathed.
Perhaps he has a strong will, perhaps not. I will find out myself. Discussion about him is pointless. He says with a tone that he will accept none. I will meet with him personally.
I can send
alongside
him to you. I
Entourage.
can. She just said I can have him sent to you at a moment's notice.
Not necessary, I will do so myself. Now, the matter of Maximilian Vermilion is closed for now. If something will come out, he will be dealt swiftly. Even if something doesn't come out, you can still be on your guard. You are throw agents under me. I expect you to do your duty and go beyond it in some cases.
Of
Yes.
course, Lord Inquisitor.
Ignatius will nod.
Okay. So, to reiterate, he says... no wait, he wouldn't say that alongside others. We will add that thing after, when you are alongside. So to reiterate, after you wrap up your business here on this planet and prepare, your primary target and objective is to find that weapon, see if it exists, and if it does exist, examine it for any signs of corruption. If it's not corrupted, find how to use it, and if possible, use it, especially if you confirm that this tide of darkness is coming. If it's corrupted, find a way to destroy it. I expect nothing less. Is that understood?
Mariana.
Yes.
Yes, Inquisitor. Lord Inquisitor.
Inquisitor.
Then the meeting is adjourned, and he leaves. And then we have that entire scene where Santis and Moriana were showing off their, in eyes of Puritans, heretical ideas, but I don't remember at which point there we ended. to be
We
honest.
already discussed all of the
You were about
plans
to.
concerning Severin Dominant, and as John was about to say, you were about to ask about the Eldar.
Oh right, the question was now, and I'm gonna reckon that he like leaned back a little in his chair, and the voice that he used sounded like a offhand, backhand comment. Now, is there anything else you wanted to tell me about? And then I believe one of you started answering.
Yeah, Mariana stepped
John,
forward and was like,
Would this be the point where Xanthus and Moriana just kind of look at each other like, okay?
Yeah, they do for a moment. And then Mariana steps forward because that's what I had her do before. And then I believe Xanthus was like, I'm as much to blame as you are, but thank you for trying to take the flak or whatever.
Yeah, something like that. Something along the lines of, I appreciate what you're trying to do, but it wouldn't have been possible had I not been guilty as well. Something along those lines.
So yes, yeah. Lord Inquisitor, there is a matter against our...
Sorry that I interrupted, but then he like, like you don't see his facial expression, but there's like, and he like raises his hand so that you stop talking, and then he looks at Alava, because Alava like meekly raised his hand, and he's like, Lord Inquisitor, should I be here for that part? And then he like gives a chuckle. I believe you, Benjamin Alava, already heard more than enough, especially considering what I believe those two want you for. Please stay. And then, of course, Lord Inquisitor, and then like Caden is, please continue.
Again, oh god, what was Lyra's surname?
I don't think she gave one. Oh no, wait, there was
in the end.
There was a handout, but I don't remember it.
I want to say it was Candelaria.
Yes, it was. It was.
Yep.
Against Inquisitor Candelaria's will, myself, and as it's been made apparent, Xanthus decided to save the life of...
If you don't remember the name, that was Exarch.
It was an Exarch. Yes. Oh, Exarch what, sorry?
Exarch, and he gave his name as Funbus.
Of a Xenos. A Xenos belonging to the Eldar. Exarch Funbus was his name. A dire avenger, I believe he spoke his rank.
Yep, he did.
He was on the Space Hulk when we found one of the map pieces. The Eldar were investigating the Eldar seemed to be investigating the map pieces and in turn the weapon. More so why the Dark Eldar were there, or why their Dark Brethren were there.
He gives a slight nod, but doesn't say anything.
It was
kinda expecting for more.
We tried to argue for his life, but inevitably the Inquisitor and Cadis had the final say and put him to death. As I said, we went behind her back, and this shirked off combat after my suggestion. And thanks to his psychic prowess, he managed to revive being.
If I may interrupt here, Moriana. More specifically, Lord Inquisitor, the Eldar soul had not yet left the soul stone in the center of its chest. So I reconstructed its body, effectively speaking, or rather put its head back on its body, reattached it with my biomancy and guided its soul back to where it belonged.
We promised the Exarch that he would get out alive. I do not break my promises so easily.
Out of character, real quick, because this happened so long ago.
Hmm?
Did the rest of the party know about this?
No.
Hell no.
No, they did not. I especially remember that.
Ignatius is going to raise his hand. I had no idea this place. He's going to kind of turn to the rest of the party.
Ignatius isn't here.
You are not there. Basically,
Oh,
what's
no,
happening? It was
okay.
like slight forward skip. In the
Oh,
like we will see in the meantime what Ignatius is doing, but I want to finish with that one.
No, that's fine.
Basically,
okay.
because they asked Caden for like a private meeting. So
getting the
We
private
spoke
meeting.
about the
Gotcha.
Dominate, basically, and this Eldar bit was at the end of it.
Okay.
so Cadis is not there. You are not there.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Ain't sad. That would be a disaster.
Well, at least one party member would die.
Probably. At least one. Yeah.
Anyways, continuing. Like, Caden, even though you don't see his face, his like body language, like for you, Xantis, because you used to work under him, and you learned to like spot that small bits and pieces that he gives. He doesn't seem overtly surprised, or the method, mostly for the method that you are explaining. It seems like this method doesn't sound like a novum to him.
It was thanks to his aid it was thanks to his aid that we were so successful on Ohm's World. It was he who dropped the intel of the Chaos Sleeper agents to the Dominate themselves. And then the Dominate sent out their battalions to call them and then aid us. So we were not cut off within the lower part of the... Was it a hive? Or what?
Spiral hive, yes.
Yeah, the lower part of the hive.
As
We
it
knew
turns
nothing
out,
of it.
as it turns out, Eldar can be. Well, no, how would you say this? As it turns out, Eldar do not forget their debts, especially life debts. The Eldar has been a friend and an ally ever since I saved his life, or rather, ever since we saved his life.
When you like say that, you actually both of you can make a hard like -20 awareness test to see if you like hear that bit.
Probably not, but I'll roll it anyway. Moriana might, or not.
I'm re-rolling that. I want to hear. I want to hear it. I'm sorry. I want to hear it.
Really?
I hear it.
Not really that
Okay.
important.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, it is.
Basically,
I
I am so tempted. But
this is
no.
like whisper, like Aiden whispers a sentence to himself, like under his breath, although with like kind of like amused, light-hearted tone. And he whispered that when Xantis said that they do not forget life debts, and Caden says, no, they do not.
Oh, this is what Moriana's going to be a bit cheeky and going to question that, I think. Ooh, yeah, I think she will. I take it you two have had dealings with the Eldar Lord Inquisitor, if you do not mind me asking or querying. You can tell she's probably grinning behind her mask in the amused way she's saying it.
Yeah. For a moment there is silence from him. Yeah, and
Have
then
you lost your mind?
Girl, you lost your mind.
and then for like a few seconds, especially like you see that Benjamin like starts sweating, And Xantis, you feel a little bit, but Mariana, this like feeling that you're getting like pushed into the chair, like intensifies, but for a few seconds. Basically what he does is, without saying anything, he can tolerate many things, but this is like him reminding that there are some, like, do not push your luck too much. And then that feeling
My
is...
apologies, Lord Inquisitor.
And then this feeling like goes off, and he gives like darkly amused tone and says, as a lady, even as a throw agent, as a lady being throw agent, you ought to remember that it's impolite to listen to eavesdrop on your superiors, even if they are only whispering to themselves.
Oh god, I need to roll willpower. I mean, she has got 30, racking up those insanity points. So
Xanthus is just going to pinch the bridge of his nose. Dare I even ask? Dare I even ask?
Mariana, I mean, it's not. She doesn't say it in sort of a mocking tone. She says it flatly. It is part of my job, or rather, it is part of the profession, after all.
Lord Inquisitor, if you're going to smite her, can I move a step to the left?
Actually, there's like a chuckle, but still he tries to play that this is not like her the chuckle, this like almost like darkly grim chuckle. Actually, interrogator, make that 2 steps.
Thank you, Lord Inquisitor, for the early warning. He very literally does take 2 steps over.
Mariana just stands the ground looking up.
And then, like, mentally, Xantis hears that message. I'm not exactly sure if I should pity you, Xantis, or be jealous of having this specimen of a female gender in your cadre.
Both,
Oh wow,
Inquisitor, both.
Do you say that out loud or do you respond mentally?
That is actually a good question.